Hello and welcome to another Bearded Geek toy review. In today's video we're looking at this DC Multiverse Batman in Armor figure from Batman v Superman by McFarlane Toys. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, and here we have another DC Multiverse from McFarlane Toys. Yes, I've managed to finally bag another DC Multiverse figure. This time I have got myself the Batman in Armor suit from Batman v Superman, which obviously came out in 2016 and critically maligned, but I like the film. And obviously, if you watch the 3-hour cut that has 40 minutes inserted back into it, the film makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more coherent and a damn sight better. And I think it's probably one of the best comic book films made. But, that's just me. I've lauded how well I think of that film and Zack Snyder's Justice League far too much whenever I review these kind of figures, so I'll just shut up. I do have a figure that is based on this look previously, and that's this guy here. Now this was actually from a free figure set that I bought my son, I think for his birthday or Christmas. It definitely ended up being gifted to him. It was in a free figure set, so it came with Batman in his armor suit here, and the cool thing is you could, let's just get that off there, take his helmet off to reveal his normal cowl underneath, which is obviously something you don't see in the film. But a nice basic likeness of Ben Affleck there for a very basic figure. Yeah, so it came with a Henry Cavill Superman, and it came with a Lex Luthor who was in his kind of like green kryptonite-based power suit, which obviously led to a lot of speculation because, these kind of figures are released before the film comes out. And it led to a lot of speculation from fans going, oh, we're finally going to get a live-action version of Lex Luthor and his comic-based green kryptonite-based power suit, but obviously that never happened in the film. So that's just a toy license taking a few liberties. These figures were made by Mattel, I think roughly 6-inch in scale, obviously, when they had the license. But, and that's okay for what it is. It's a little bit basic, but there you go. It's sat on my shelf for a while. Since, obviously, my son decided, he didn't want these action figures. And he kind of said, give them to the charity shop or something. But, so they went in the charity bag, except for this one, because I thought, oh, that looks cool. And I just thought I'd put it on my shelf. But, yeah, this guy is probably going to get consigned to the charity shop now, because we've now got this version. Oh my word, this is absolutely fantastic. This looks bloody amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to get this open. It's standard DC Multiverse packaging. Obviously, you've got the 22 points of articulation at the top, McFarlane logos at the other side at the top, 12 plus, says what it is. Obviously, you've got the QR code on the side for the DC Universe Infinite app, which obviously gives you access to loads of digital versions of DC Comics that have been published over the years. You have this on the side, so instead of the standard just black with the lettering, you've got the Batman vs Superman logo there, and obviously Batman armor suit from Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and a lovely bit of artwork on the back featuring Affleck in the armor suit, which obviously took its inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns, the seminal graphic novel by Frank Miller that was published way back in the mid-1980s and led to a huge comic boom for comic books and also ushered in people accepting like the more kind of like serious version of Batman, because up until then people were very, very familiar with the Adam West TV series, which is still absolutely fantastic. I love that show. I've got it all on Blu-ray. But obviously that graphic novel kind of like ushered in them taking a more serious approach with the forthcoming movie adaptation. And that led us to 1989's Batman, directed by Tim Burton and obviously starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get this bad boy open.
You don't understand. There's no time.
I understand.
And before we get to the actual figure itself, a little bit of a note of the inner packaging, which for the first time that I've ever seen is different than the usual comic book cover montage of DC Comics throughout the decades. Here you've actually got a Batman v Superman themed inner montage, which I think is really, really cool there. And obviously you get the standard DC stand there that you can put the figure on, and then the trading card, which we'll get out in a second and have a look at.
Breathe it in. That's fear. You're not brave. Men are brave.
So here we have the trading card, which repeats the image on the back of the packaging of Affleck in that really kind of like cool armor suit. And then you get a little bit of a bio there, so if you want to pause that and read that, you can do. But yeah, these trading cards are really, really cool. I like collecting them. Oh my god, just look at this figure. This is bloody amazing. This is fantastic. I think this is I'm lost for words. I really am. This is a bulky figure. For the $24.99 price, pounds or dollars depending on where you are, this is a hefty chunk of plastic and well worth that amount of money that you're shelling out for. I really am surprised that McFarlane Toys didn't stick like an extra $5, £5 on this, because of just how absolutely weighty and massive this guy is. Just to give you a little bit of scale, let's bring in normal Bat Affleck. Or BatFleck, should we say, just to give you a scale of like a normal sized DC Multiverse figure. So you've got him there, and then obviously you've got him in the normal cape and cowl from the movie. So yeah, you can see the considerable difference there. These are 7-inch action figures. In fact, let me just get a tape measure and see just how tall this guy is. So just bringing the tape measure in, and you can see there, he's a considerable, obviously, almost 8 inches there, which is a huge chunk of plastic. And something to make a note. Now, we've had cloth capes recently. That's what McFarlane have moved into, which is really, really cool, because that gives you, your action figures more posability. So they're moving away from those plastic capes and giving them cloth capes. But this is the first one that I've received where it is actually a wired cape, which means you can do all kind of things with it for posability. Just look at that. That is amazing. You could have it, kind of like billowing out like that. Proper, Batman style. I love the frame at the bottom. Obviously, this is like kind of like a worn battle suit. You just see the detail on the sculpt there. Let's just take a closer look. The sheer detail of that and a great wash as well. I was a little bit worried that it was going to be a little bit too silver, but when you think about it, that feature, like that fight in the film, is filmed in a very kind of like dark, murky kind of like cinematography, and apparently this is accurate to how the costume actually was that Affleck wore for that scene. And it's interesting because you don't realise that it's kind of like just pieces of armour that are put on over his actual suit. So you can actually see underneath here the sections where his actual proper costume, this one, is actually underneath. And you get more of a better idea when you look at the back of the figure, and you can see obviously more of the gaps of where the armour wasn't placed. So I mean, all Superman had to do was like kick him in the butt and he was done for. Because there's no protection there whatsoever. There's a bit of BatFleck butt for you. But even so, all the detail on the back, the lovely kind of like dirty wash it has. I am just amazed at just how good this figure is. I got this on Amazon, which is obviously one of the places that you can get it. Up until today, which is the 24th of January, it is still showing in stock there. There's a few other places where it has sold out, like Star Action Figures, Props and Replicas, Comics and Cocktails, another couple of websites that I use. But I'm sure, hopefully, the distribution issues that we had last year with McFarlane, and that we've had really for over the last 18 months, 2 years, have hopefully resolved themselves, and these figures are a little bit easier to get hold of. So lovely kind of like movement in the head there. You get a likeness of Affleck that looks like his lips. You don't get the distinctive chin because that's covered by the helmet. But yeah, you do get that real feel of the character there. And it's all got the standard articulation. There is obviously movement everywhere. It's your typical McFarlane figure. And obviously you are going to be able to move him right back there with that. So you can get him in some really good poses, and he even comes with the toe articulation. Oh, look at the studs underneath there. Oh, imagine them hitting your face. That'd do you some damage, wouldn't it? So yeah, this figure is absolutely amazing. It does come with 2 accessories, which isn't a lot really. So we've got a fist hand for his left hand, and then for his right hand we've got a kind of like reach out hand there, which is reminiscent of that scene where he's kind of like punching Superman up against the wall, and then suddenly he realised the kryptonite gas is wearing off and Superman's then not moving and his punches aren't really landing, and then kind of steps back and goes and then gets pummeled to the ground by Henry Cavill Superman. I love that bit. Now, there are 2 variations of this figure. So this is the standard one. Like I said, $24.99 is its recommended retail price. There is a platinum edition, which I think is about £5 more, which I think obviously probably $29.99. It's the same figure as this, but it does come with the kryptonite spear, and it has a kind of like green paint wash on that side of the figure. So when you put the spear in his hand there, it kind of gives the illusion that it's shining onto his armour, which is okay if you want that kind of variation, that version. Yeah, not a problem. And then there is another version that is available in a twin pack with the Nightmare Batman, which obviously is a variant of the existing Nightmare Batman figure that is already out, which I do have as well, and I will be doing a review of him very, very shortly. And the figure in that one of the armoured Batman has the famously cracked helmet, so you can see half of Batman's face after, you know, you get to the "why do you say that name?" The Martha scene, which he's really mocked, but I'd never realised that before, that they shared the mother's name. So, you know, perhaps it could have been cut or acted or edited a little bit better, but it's an interesting character point that obviously just gives that realisation to Batman, who's like really in that fury at that moment, ready to kill Superman, that yeah, he may be an alien, but he's been brought up with human values and essentially like sees himself as you know, a person of Earth, you know, despite him being not of this planet. And Batman realizes he's making a huge mistake. You know, it's I think it's a good scene. It lands, it really does. But yeah, this is amazing. You could really do a lot of stuff with the cape here. You know, that wire on each seam really does kind of like give it some movability and posability there. This is, I think this is going to be my favourite figure of the year. I know we're only in January, but I'll be extremely surprised if any figure that comes out between now and the end of the year tops this. Which I've just realised I didn't do a top 10 of 2024. It's probably a little bit too late to do that. But yeah, and it would mean me going back through all the things that I got last year. So yeah, I think we'll leave that for this year. But if I do a top 10 of 2025, I think this guy is certainly going to be very, very high on the list, if not number one. I heartily recommend this figure. It is awesome. If I were to mention a criticism, I think it's because the figure is so heavy that he's not exactly steady on his feet. And I don't think it helps with the fact that the feet are quite loose. You know, there's a stiffness there, but not as much as you get on other figures. And I think because of the heaviness of the figure, it is going to be kind of like, see, if you do that, then it just quickly like rocks back. So it's going to be a fine line trying to get this guy to really stay upright unless he's leant against something. I don't think the stand is going to really help in this instance because, yeah, it's the heaviness of the figure that obviously is causing the issue there. But besides that, that is the only fault I can find in this figure. And before we go, there's a little bit of a comparison there between the old Mattel version of the figure and obviously the McFarlane Toys version. You really cannot kind of like say that this isn't obviously a huge improvement on that. I know this was the mass market version, you know, marketed, probably produced in very, very high figures. You know, not as many of these because these are aimed at the collector's market, probably made as that. But yeah, it just shows you how much action figure sculpting and technology has come along in the 9 years since this guy was released. Absolutely huge improvements, and it really is a great time to be collecting action figures. Well, thank you very much for watching, and if you liked the video, then please leave us a like. It really does help out the channel. And if you've not yet subscribed or hit that notification bell, then do that as well, because we really do appreciate the support that it gives to the channel. Lots of cool new videos still to come. I think next up we've got a Spider-Man related one, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you very, very soon on Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. Bye now.
I bet your parents taught you that you mean something. That you're here for a reason. My parents taught me a different lesson. Dying in the gutter for no reason at all. They taught me the world only makes sense if you force it to.
Martha?
Why did you say that name?